Inference Plus Story Short number 13, Series B. Jenny hated summer, a feeling her classmates would have found baffling if she had ever shared it. Even the smart kids looked forward to the break from routine, the ice cream cones and trips to the swimming pool. Jenny was an exemplary student, the kind one would expect to enjoy school and miss it during the long hot months of June, July, and August, but that wasn't why she hated it. It wasn't the long, broiling days in a house without air conditioning or the absence of any sort of vacation. The basement stayed cool even on the hottest of days, and she liked spending the entire day hunkered down on the soft brown sofa and reading. She didn't even especially mind the increased number of shouts and slaps from her mother and stepfather, both of whom seemed to bloom with irritation in the summer. Whether from the heat or from the burden of her constant presence, she didn't know. When they'd first moved here, children from school had come over to play sometimes, but after Julie Weltmer went home and cried because Jenny's stepdad yells and slams the door, the playdates at her house quickly stopped, and eventually even the sad-eyed invitations to other children's homes dried up. She made everything awkward. It wasn't a surprise. She was 8, for God's sake, old enough to know how to keep a friend, but somehow she couldn't. She acted out the stories from books with her Barbies, but it would have been more fun with someone else to play some of the parts. Honestly, hitting didn't bother Jenny nearly as much as words. A smack was over in a matter of seconds, but she could hear the echoes of the words all the time forever. She was fat, she was clumsy, she was irresponsible, she was careless, she was immature, she was too loud. The comments snapped off in seconds that stayed in her head like a catchy song she couldn't quit humming. Her teacher had taught the class about idioms, and the one about walking on eggshells had fascinated Jenny because it so perfectly reflected how she felt in the summer. Jenny had the sense that she was too heavy, too clumsy, too careless to avoid breaking the eggshells, and the feeling made her burn with humiliation and shame. No matter how careful she tried to be, there was always another spilled glass of water at the dinner table to catalog as evidence of her inadequacy. She wondered if her mother had a ledger stashed somewhere where she wrote down every single one of Jenny's mistakes, so she could review them for use as future evidence. Supporting details in the essay she titled, "Why Jenny is the Worst Daughter in the World." Another way to show that any good she might bring into her parents' lives was far outweighed by her errors. Thank goodness for her books. Jenny read 3 or 4 simultaneously, rotating between them based on her interest or her mood. At first, she'd read because it was an activity that pleased her mother. It was one of the few things Jenny did of which she had ever appeared proud. Over time, however, Jenny secretly began to read for herself. Happy books to push away the sadness of her mistakes. Scary books to bring excitement to the silent nights. Lately, romantic books read surreptitiously that made her wonder if it was possible that someday someone might find a seed of goodness in her to love. Surely there was something in her somewhere to love. For some reason, books were exempted from her mother's rules. Jenny was told what to wear, how to sit, what to say, how to decorate her bedroom, even what objects she could collect. But she could read any book she wanted. The raised eyebrows of the librarians told her that some of the volumes she checked out were less than child-friendly, but those were the best and most exciting ones, the ones that most effectively excised her from the dark corner of the family room and led her someplace else, anywhere else. This was why she preferred the school year to the summer. Her teachers seemed to beam with pleasure when she spoke. They called her an old soul, so mature for her age, very bright, and any number of other kind and pleasant things. Their approval surged through her like a drug and compelled her to amplify the noted qualities even more. She would be more mature. She would be more advanced, because then someone would love her more, because then she'd have earned it.